Hello, hello, Samara Stone here. Today, I want to talk to you about why some mental health professionals are struggling to show up on social media. Listen, I know you see folks out there creating YouTube channels, dancing on TikTok, writing blogs, building graphics, doing all of the things. And there's a part of you that's wondering, why can't I create that? Especially when you hear yourself in your therapy session and you're saying things that are so insightful, so spot on. You're like, man, if only I could capture all of these goodies and share them online, I'd be able to position myself as an expert. Well, I want to talk to you today about why that might be a challenge and what you can do to help make it better. So, a lot of times when we are facing the blank canvas and trying to come up with content to create these social media posts or content for the live video that we've been told we have to do, we often find ourselves chasing viral topics or trying to talk about what's happening in the current events without really creating a plan for content that speaks to your niche, to your brand, and quite honestly, to your strengths. So you can't establish authority if you don't first have some clarity internally about who you are and what it is you want to do in the field, right? So if you find yourself saying, I don't know what to say, or I don't even know what to talk about or how to get started, then this is going to be a step-by-step process that's going to be useful for you. The first is I want you to become organized in your thinking. Start by getting clear about your niche. Knowing who you're talking to makes it that much easier for you to know what to say. So, a lot of therapists not only are facing the discomfort being on camera, public speaking, being seen, but they're also feeling jumbled up in their thoughts because they're trying to talk to everyone and appeal to everyone, when really your conversation should be focused directly to your niche and your ideal clients. So if you don't know your niche, that's the place to begin. Get clear about not only who you want to work with, but how you want to work with them. I think a part of establishing what I call a unique niche is knowing not just who it is you're serving or what you're helping them with, but the unique way that you're going to engage with people as your clients to support them. Because when you know that, then you can be intentional about showing up that way, even in your social media content. So that means choosing things that you know are relevant for your niche and then presenting it in a way that's consistent with like who you are. So people will interact with your content and feel like they already know you. Now, how do you come to know who you are and how you're going to present yourself with consistency? That's the work of branding, right? And so a lot of times when people think of branding, they just kind of feel like it's choosing colors and creating a logo. But I want you to know, as a mental health professional, branding has a much deeper purpose, right? Branding for us is really about making sure that you're clear about your values, like why you came to this field in the first place. Clear, of course, about your niche, who you want to serve, but that you also know a bit about like what your personality is like, what your style is like. The approaches that you take to working with people is one thing, but the way in which you deliver what you do is another. And so you've got to be really clear on like, how people experience you when you're at your best professionally. So you can be intentional about showing up that way all across whatever you're putting out there for your brand. That means that your online presence is consistent. The website, the social media, however you show up when you're interviewed for a podcast or a webinar, that you've got a consistent way of being. It makes it so much easier for you to slip into what it is your business needs from you and to present from that space. So the first thing we're going to do is make sure that you know your niche and that you're developing content that speaks to them, not just all of the things. The second thing is that you're going to have your brand voice. So the way in which you're delivering to people is useful, right? That strategy, just those two things, is going to really make a big difference in your being able to show up. Now, the other thing is thinking that you can just randomly show up without any schedule, without any structure, and be excellent on camera all the time. You have got to take the time to do the research to create content ahead of time. Think about what you want to say. Think about the schedule with which you'd like to show up online, and then create your content maybe in a batch prior to the time when you want to put it out there. So not everyone can just kind of randomly show up on a live and be really effective in delivering the message that you want to deliver. And so if you're wanting to use those kinds of platforms, you got to be a step ahead in thinking about what you want to say, when you want to say it, and with what, cadence that you want to deliver your content. So that means making sure that you've kind of done your homework ahead of time and maybe plan it out for a bit of time in the future so that you're not feeling the pressure of being under the gun. It is important that you be consistent when you're putting stuff out there on social, but it's hard to be consistent if you don't have something prepared. So start with that and it'll make it a lot easier for you to do it. Now, when it's actually time for you to do this work, I want you to breathe. Just relax and let yourself speak. You're speaking to a friend or a colleague. Just go ahead and act like you're talking to one person, not like you're presenting on a great big stage, right? It's important that you know kind of what you want to say. You want to have some framework, but you also want to be natural in your delivery. It reminds me of a client that I worked with a couple years back. And one of the things that I noticed whenever it was time for her to show up with regard to marketing, she would put on this strange persona, this professional persona that really didn't fit who she was. And so we always used to joke that she needed to bring her Saturday self to Monday morning. And I want to encourage you to do the same thing. Make sure that your natural way of being shows up in the work that you're doing in social. It's going to allow people to connect with you as a person because that honestly is what people need in order to feel that, rapport being established. So yes, you want to have professionalism, but you don't have to prove professionalism by being something other than who you are. Right? Let these conversations feel natural. You're talking to a friend. Let your content be readable and easy to engage with, not stuffed full of the jargon that you might put in a dissertation, but something that allows you to connect with human beings. That's going to make it that much easier for you to allow things to roll off your tongue the same way they do when you're in therapy sessions with your clients and you feel all that yummy magic happening. I hope this is helpful. If so, be sure to subscribe. We are continually creating content that help therapists to grow personally and professionally. It's real important to me that you all learn how to take good care of yourself, how to take good care of your clients, and of course, to take good care of business. See you next time.